Hello, my name is Eric Ellis, and I'm President and CEO of Integrity Development, a management consulting firm in Cincinnati, Ohio. We have invested 2.5 decades in working with major corporations, government agencies, and educational institutions, helping to develop the knowledge, tools, and practical skills necessary to build respectful workplaces. I want to thank you for taking time to join us with this session focused on the 3 C's of respect. As we look across history, respect for individuals may be one of the most important skills that anybody can implement. Daniel Goleman, seen by many as the godfather of emotional intelligence, talks about the importance of people skills. He said that emotional intelligence is twice as important as technical expertise and IQ combined. He also said that one manager who is low in people skills can lower the collective IQ of an entire team. So I want to thank you for spending the next 90 minutes with us as we focus on trying to achieve 3 objectives. Number 1, we want to define respect and identify its relationship to performance. Secondly, we want to identify your personal values related to respect and how they influence your workplace behaviors and expectations of others. And then finally, we want to share the 3 core elements of respect and the related practical skills. I'm certain that you're going to enjoy this educational experience. Maybe you're working in a small group in a team, or maybe you're going through this by yourself. But either way, good luck learning more about the 3 C's of respect. Okay, before we get started, I want to share just a little story with you to share a little bit of background. I grew up in a family where my father was a pioneer in the field of diversity, but he was also an athlete. So he focused a lot on sports. And I played basketball most of my life. And I was actually a bench warmer most of my life. And then as a senior in high school, I got cut from the team. And so that was just, one of the worst days in my life as I think about it. But my father told me, you just never give up. And you're the only one that can determine when your last day playing sports is. And so I kept practicing. And I eventually went on to college, played basketball, made the team at Anderson College in Indiana, and then went on to Wright State University, where I made the basketball team there, and we won the national championship. But all of that set me up to really think about respect, because sometimes during my earlier years, I didn't always think that I was getting a fair shot. And so it became something that was real important to me. After getting out of college, I became a basketball coach and did that over the years. And then about 3 years ago, I had a high school coach ask me to join his staff to help him build a culture of respect. And what we did in the last 3 years was really to transform that basketball team's culture from one where the coach led through fear and intimidation through one where he led through respect and empowerment. And the difference was we were able to win the state championship. What this team wasn't able to do through talent, skill, and ability over the years, when we shifted that culture of the team through interviewing every player and understanding the things that we did as coaches that motivated young ladies and the things that we did that took away their confidence, as we changed the culture, we changed their performance. Respect focuses on to act in a way which shows that you are aware of the person's rights and their desires. To treat people in a fair and equitable manner. What I want you to do is to take a look at this next section. What we want you to do is to take a look at how you were raised and maybe some of the things that you learned as you were growing up. We want you to focus on the who, the how, and the what. Who. I want you to identify who you respected as you were growing up and why. And then I want you to secondly look at how did you treat them? What were the key behaviors that were used to demonstrate respect? And then finally, the third section says, what are those work expectations that you have as a result of what you grew up learning? As I looked at our business over the last several years, it was interesting as we went through the recession, I began to see that some companies were decreasing their investment in diversity. And I got concerned, but But then I looked again and I began to see that sometimes companies were struggle to focus on the people related, the soft skills, if you will, in business. And so what I realized was that consultants couldn't just focus on the things that were important to us, but we had to begin to identify what business leaders were focused on, what they were concerned about. And what I identified is that many of our clients were focused on their KPIs, or their key performance indicators. What I did then was begin to look at research that correlated respect to performance. And this next slide shows you some information around what happens when people are disrespected in the workplace. I found that a Georgetown University study was done that asked people, what do you do when you're disrespected in the workplace? Well, 48% of them said that they intentionally decrease the quantity of work. 47% said that they intentionally decrease the time that they spend at work, and 38% said that they intentionally decrease the quality of their work. As you look at this information, you begin to see that there is this direct correlation between respect and performance. And so what you're focusing on today, the 3 C's of respect, can help us to ensure that we raise the bar of respect, which also raises the bar of performance. Okay, by now you've looked at the 3 C's of respect. What are they? Let's review them. They're communication, collaboration, and care. What I want you to do now is I want you to take some time, you can pause the video, and I want you to look at writing down 2 examples of behaviors positive behaviors that you've demonstrated in the workplace that relate to the 3 C's. Secondly, I want you to look at positive examples of behaviors that some of your coworkers have utilized in the workplace. And then I want you to take time to look at 2 examples of challenges you and your coworkers face as it relates to the 3 C's of respect. Once you spent about 10 minutes if you're an individual, and then 20 minutes if you're a part of a group, we'll come back. Finally, what we want to make sure of is that when you leave this session, that you're going to continue to implement the things that you've learned. Clearly, anytime we come together in an encounter, there are oftentimes new information we gain, but sometimes we want to create an intersection between what you already know and making a decision to do it. So hopefully that's happened to you today. I want you to take some time now as you close out to develop your own 3 C's action plan. You want to develop an action plan for practicing and applying the key behaviors linked to the 3 C's. I want you to think about what are behaviors that you want to start, stop, and continue in order to assure that you implement and apply the things that you've learned. Seek to apply new behaviors immediately. I can tell you from experience that the more you practice them, the better you get at it. So start right away. And then finally, remember that comfort comes through practice. Okay. For me, I'm a 2nd-generation diversity consultant. I've been doing this work for over 2.5 decades. My father was a pioneer in the work. When I first started doing diversity training, I thought my job was to come into organizations like a diversity ghostbuster. I was looking to sort of gun down the racist, sexist, bigoted homophobes, and I thought that that's the job that I had. And then over the years, I began to realize that if I were going to make progress with people, I had to become more transparent around my own biases. And I've enjoyed doing that over the years. I've enjoyed the opportunity to continuously learn. And so I've seen language shift over the years. I remember when we were talking about sort of sensitivity training, then racial sensitivity training, then diversity training, then diversity and inclusion training, then inclusion training. And the move that I'm trying to help us make today is into building a culture of respect. I believe that when you start focusing on building a culture of respect, then you can include everybody. You see, I feel more proud of myself when I go into an organization and I'm not just in there to fight for the concerns of people of color or women, but when I'm there to fight for the concerns of everyone. You see, when I see whether it's white men or others that are working in a plant and on the plant floor, my experience says that when I demonstrate respect to them, When I begin to listen to what their issues are and fight for them, they join my team. When I interact with women and I begin to listen to and understand the issues that they face and fight for them, they join my team. When I fight for people that are disabled or differently abled, they join my team. And what I'm saying is that respect is the key. As we focus on building cultures of respect, I think that we can make the world a better place.